Welcome back to the show, Sharp and Shapiro. It is the Vegas Take. You know, it's funny because I don't usually have very long conversations with people that work in the building, JD, because we just come in here, we do show prep, we do our show, and we leave. By the time it's noon, I'm hungry, I'm tired, my blood sugar is low. Get the hell away from me. I want to go home. I just want to take a nap, right? But
you're also not a very friendly person.
That is completely not true, man. I am much more social
you
than you.
That
is
can make all
not
the
true.
excuses you want, but that's the underlying
Are
factor.
you claiming that you're more friendly than me?
Absolutely.
Really? Then why do I have more friends than you then? That is completely unfair. That's not true. Anyway, we can do this. We can talk about this for 3 hours, but let's not. Anyway, the young man joining, I feel so old saying that because he's like 15 years younger than me. But the guy we have with us in the studio right now, he does a great job on the Coyote. The Jeff and Aimee show is awesome. You definitely have to check that out, that morning show. I didn't know this about Jeff, but he was actually the mascot, Otto the Orange, for the Syracuse Orangemen. And I wanted to have him in studio because some really weird stuff happening on campus at Syracuse. But first of all, Jeff, thanks for being here. How are you?
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. For the record, JD said hi to me way before you even introduced yourself.
All right, fine. That's fair.
So I'm not saying, but it's a good start.
I just don't like mascots. I'm not friendly to mascots. That's what it is. All right. I hate to talk about I have so many questions to ask you about what it was like being a mascot, but I think we have to start by talking about some really crazy stuff that's happening on the campus at Syracuse. I'm sure you heard about this as you went there.
Right.
This white supremacist manifesto was sent to Syracuse University students, and this is not the first incident in the last few months. There has been some racist graffiti that has been written all over the university, people that, I guess, a white supremacist, and we don't know if there's one person involved or several people involved, but the FBI is now involved in this, and they're saying they are aware of reports of this incident, and they are investigating, and they are looking to find the person or persons that did this. As somebody who graduated from Syracuse University, and you were such a big part of that university, I mean, if it happened at my university, I wouldn't even know. I would be shocked. Did any of this happen when you were there?
I'll say right now, Syracuse is a very diverse community, which is what made it so much fun to be a college student there, is you have people from all across the country. You have students from all different backgrounds, all different financial backgrounds, all different, religious backgrounds, whatever it might be. And that's what I loved about going to Syracuse. Now, with that comes what I hate about situations like this is there are one or maybe two or three people making it seem like this university has a serious racial profiling problem or problem with racism on the campus. Now, I'll be the first to say that this is so disappointing. And I'm heartbroken to see my campus torn up. But there are sit-ins right now at our gymnasium and outside of the chancellor's office waiting for some sort of movement. People are calling, our student association is calling for all classes to be canceled. All activities, student activities, social activities.
Do you think that should happen?
No, I don't think classes should be canceled because now if there was a physical imminent threat to students of color, of students of a certain religion, yes. Don't leave your dormitories, even maybe start Thanksgiving break early. Get the students off of campus. And that's the thing people don't realize. Also, Syracuse does a week off for Thanksgiving. So meaning starting Friday, the sit-ins will end because students will be going on break. Now, I believe some students will stay strong through it, but this issue, they're hoping to get something figured out for the campus by this weekend.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. I mean, Jeff, this stuff didn't happen when I was in high school and college. I don't understand why it's happening now. We just had the former mayor, Oscar Goodman, on, and we talked about white supremacy. And I'm sure you heard this story a few months ago right here in Las Vegas. There was a guy who wanted to go into synagogues and shoot a bunch of innocent people, go into a bunch of gay bars and shoot a bunch of people because that their sexuality might have been different from his. This is not just happening in Syracuse on that university. Sadly, this stuff is happening throughout the country. And then we have this shooting, of course, in El Paso, where a white supremacist goes into a Walmart and executes 22 people. I don't want to single out Syracuse, but certainly we had a situation at UNLV where somebody wrote something in a bathroom going after minorities. I mean, what is going on in our society today where these things seem to be happening on a regular basis? I mean, how would you feel if you're an African-American, a minority, going to Syracuse, you go to class, and then you hear that or you see a white supremacist manifesto? I can't even imagine if you're a student what you're going through. I mean, you should be proud to go to school there. I'm not blaming the university, but this is really some tough stuff.
And I look at it, and you brought up UNLV, and anybody listening who has gone to any university or even take it down to your high school alumni association, I don't look at this as, oh, I'm ashamed to be a part of the alumni association. I'm ashamed to be a student there, because there are certain people acting in the minority when it comes to their feelings there. And there are certain people taking actions of their own that they think represent a bigger majority, but just aren't true. And right now, it's a very sensitive community. And there was one woman who reported being called a racial slur on campus. That is just not okay.
That's
of
awful.
course.
No, it's awful.
But amidst all of the other trouble that's going on the campus, that is 100 times worse, and it's already terrible.
Yeah.
So at this point, what they're calling for are officials to do something, to make action, to find a way. So bringing in the FBI, and I believe even Andrew Cuomo spoke about this on the larger level, talking about New York as a whole, and this is not something we accept. And it's true. The campus should not feel this way. Not to mention that, Syracuse University is a private university.
And it's diverse, is it not?
It's extremely diverse. I mean, a large Asian, a large African American, and a large Jewish population as well, just to name a few. And as a member of that community, despite being a white male, I am very upset. And I take personal offense because a lot of people are saying, well, it's a Syracuse problem. It's a university problem as a whole. No, this is a couple of morons doing something that they believe is true when really hate speech cannot be accepted. And they're bringing in the FBI, as you said, to find out who's causing these issues.
Make no mistake about it. I think you're very irresponsible if you say, oh, those people at Syracuse, they're a bunch of racists.
Right.
The administration's... No, you're absolutely right. It's probably one or two morons that decided to do something very hateful. And certainly I would never say it represents the university or the students or any of that stuff. I just hope they catch these scumbags that did this.
Absolutely.
If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Jeff from the Jeff and Aimee morning show on the Coyote. Who graduated from Syracuse. He was also Otto the Orange mascot. Okay, so I got to ask you a few questions about that. This is unbelievable. Okay, so let me start with this. If you're a mascot, does that give you a better chance to hook up with a cheerleader or get chicks?
That's very funny that you bring that up, because that's usually the first question from when I get a group of guys like you in studio.
An idiot like me. You can just say that.
No. You're a lot like me in that case, so don't worry.
A very basic, typical moron like Ryan.
Yeah, of course.
Well, the big thing with that
fair.
is it's a campus secret. It is unknown to 99.9. We say it's the rule of three. You can only tell 3 people on campus that you are Otto. And usually it means, you should tell your roommate because they're going to know and they're going to find out when you come home sweaty from the Duke-Syracuse game. Right. I'm just really passionate about the team, guys. They need to know. So you have the rule of 3, and then it's a secret to a point where I started my freshman year. My senior year, we had the big senior night for the basketball players, the cheerleaders, and then that's when we reveal the senior mascots. And so I got revealed, and I go to the bar Chuck's, rest in peace. It's been torn down in the last couple years. And I went up to students, came up to me, friends of mine, and said, oh my gosh, I had no idea. I knew you since freshman year, and I had no idea. And it was always funny. And then they would show me pictures, and they say, Jeff, is this you with me? I said, no, that's Otto. That's Otto.
So what's the weirdest thing that happened to you as Otto, the Syracuse mascot, in the 4 years you were there? Can you give me a story of something really bad or something that people don't, that you can tell us of being a mascot?
Well, the funniest part is I work in radio, obviously, on 102.7 The Coyote. So I talk for a living, yet I couldn't talk at all as the mascot.
That's true.
So kind of humbled me a little bit. But my favorite story is my first ever basketball game as the mascot. It was some exhibition game. I was a freshman. I barely knew the Carrier Dome, and they're like, oh, you need to go to this section, this section. So I'm being watched by the rest of the team. There's about 6 of us on the team at any given time. And yes, we have a mascot coach who's a former mascot. And the whole cheer program, we're a part of that. So I'm over in one section that's particularly known for being a little rowdy, especially during an exhibition game when Syracuse is beating God knows what school by 40 points, and we just started the second half. So they said, Kirkchen, get in there, let's do it. I said, okay. So I go in, and I'm taking a picture with these 2 big Cuse fans, and they go, I hear these guys behind me, they go, do you think Otto's a guy or a girl? And they're obviously extremely intoxicated. And the one guy goes, $20, it's a guy. And he goes, I'll take it. And they're so drunk beyond their minds, it's unbelievable.
They just grab your crotch or...
And the guy behind me took a reach at me. And I turned around.
The guy just grabs your nuts?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And thank goodness he goes, it's a guy. How embarrassing would that have been if he goes, I think it's a girl. I'm not sure.
He just grabs your sack.
So,
that's just unbelievable.
But here's the biggest problem. You can't be angry because you're a giant orange with a smile on your face. So I take the $20 and I bring it back to my coach and say, you can't take somebody's money. So my coach comes back and says, we're going to donate this to the children's...
How about sexual harassment?
I know, right? Or we could have a serious problem. I was just glad it wasn't one of my female teammates because I would have have felt even worse. So that was my first ever experience.
That's a funny story and a sad story at the same time.
I know.
It's a little more funny because you're a guy. Is that wrong for me saying that?
No,
I don't know.
no,
If it was
no.
a
I
female,
totally
that would be-
understand.
So did you have any like physical requirements you had any testing or anything like that they made you do every single year to maintain your mascot?
It's actually very funny that you brought that up, and I think you're trying to lend to the fact that I'm 5'6", so you had to be under 5'7" to be the
You're
mascot.
still smaller than our producer.
Right.
That's very small.
No, but
And-
you do a lot of like athletic
absolutely.
push-ups and the splits and I mean like a much different activities.
So we were a part of the athletics program, so we had to train with like in the same places that the basketball players and the soccer players, football players train, which was really neat. So it kept me in shape. I didn't gain the freshman 15. I gained the post-graduation 15 because I wasn't working out anymore.
Sure.
And so we had to run a under 7-minute mile, and you had to go through a series of core workouts and different cardio exercises and strength exercises. And then by the time I was a senior, Otto was learning, the mascot was learning how to do a backflip. So it wasn't a requirement, but it was definitely helpful if you could learn how to do a standing backflip.
Did Jim
the
Boeheim
evolution of Otto. I like
exactly. Did Jim Boeheim ever swear at you or strike you in the face?
You know, it's funny, and because he is, he has an anger streak. He's a coach. I mean, for goodness sake, he actually was one of the biggest fans of our mascot. And a story I've never told anywhere. This is true. My freshman year, the mascot was looking a little ratty, and you probably get a new suit every 4 years or so. They're pretty expensive. And so Jim Boeheim saw Otto run out, and this is pretty much not known to anybody. And he went to the university and said, we need a new suit. Otto doesn't look good. He doesn't look fresh. He's supposed to be an orange, and he looks like he's molding. And so the Jim and Julie Boeheim Foundation put together some money and donated to get Otto a new suit, which was awesome because making anything happen at anything the size of Syracuse, whether it's, a university, a school, or a company, it takes a long time to get that money
I'm glad you brought that up
together.
because I was just mentioning we need a new run and Reb, or what is it, the Reb mascot? I forgot.
Yep.
I have no idea.
We need a new outfit because it seems as though Francois, our athletic director, wears the exact same outfit that the run and Reb outfit is. So you need to switch that up. Anyway,
Might be using it, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so Jeff, before we let you go, I want you to talk a little bit about your morning show here at Coyote. You guys do a fantastic job. Let's plug that a little bit.
Of course. Well, it's Jeff and Aimee in the morning. We play country music here in Las Vegas, and we're your only live and local country station because the other guys, some guy in Nashville talking. And this is what I love about you guys coming to this time slot is because it's live, it's local here on KDON. I love that you guys move to this shift every single day, seeing you around here doing live and local. And we listen. Aimee and I listen right across the hall when we're doing our production. We're on from 5 to 10 a.m. on 102.7.
How do you get up at like 3 in the morning?
3:30.
That's brutal.
Yeah, walk the dog, do the whole thing, and it's difficult. But I've been doing morning radio now, I guess, since I graduated.
You take naps?
I do. I do. Naps are necessary.
That is so damn early. Well, listen, you guys do a great job as well.
Thank you
I
so much.
appreciate those kind words, and I appreciate your perspective as Otto the Orange Man. And, hopefully this stuff at Syracuse, with all seriousness, gets cleared up and they take these people to jail for this very serious crime. Jeff, thank you so much for coming in, man. Really do appreciate it.
And on the final note, I think it's great that students want to represent themselves and give their constitutional rights to sit in. I think that's great.
Absolutely.
You should be able to protest peacefully. I think that's so important in this country, and I love it.
I couldn't agree with that more. Jeff, thanks so much for your time, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right, there
Thanks
you
a lot,
go.
Jeff.
It's Jeff from Jeff and Aimee, the morning show at the Coyote. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, there are these meth ads that are being run, and it's the weirdest ad I've ever heard in my life. These people are saying, I take meth. There's something along those lines. It's the weirdest ad you've ever heard in your life. We're going to play it for you coming up next. You're listening to The Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.